Welcome to Aging with Dignity, the podcast about what it means to grow older with grace and to care for those we love along the way. I'm your host, Varsha. In this episode, we're looking closely at the care systems, decisions, and intimate moments that shape how we treat our loved ones in the end-of-life journey. When a family member is nearing the end of their life, the support we receive at home can make all the difference. With the correct in-home nursing care and end-of-life support structure, we can preserve our loved ones' dignity while ensuring they receive the best care possible. When someone we love is nearing the end of life, everything changes. The pace of time, the conversations we have, and the kind of care we need. For many families, including mine, that journey leads to the decision to bring care into the home. It's a decision filled with emotion, uncertainty, and love. In late 2024, when my father entered the palliative phase of his care, we decided to honor his wish to have his care at home. Our primary concern was his safety in his home. Along with personalized care, tending to his needs, ensuring comfort and safety, our family experienced this firsthand. I was introduced to the Nova Group by our in-home palliative nurse, and what we found was more than just medical support. We found presence. We found people who knew how to hold space for pain, dignity, and peace. In our journey, support from the Nova teams honestly kind of fell into my world. And when Dad's situation, I received their support and leveraged their services only for a short while and really ad hoc over the 4 weeks. I've come to understand that there's so much more available with the Nova team, and to better understand the role in-home nursing care can play during life's most difficult transitions, I felt an episode on Nova was essential. The Victorian Order of Nurses of Canada has been providing in-home nursing care to the Montreal community since 1898. In 2006, they restructured into a single national entity, and at that time, Nova Montreal, Nova West Island, and Nova Hudson were spun off for regional support. This is a long-standing nonprofit organization in the Montreal area that provides in-home nursing care, palliative support, and more, all with compassion and professionalism at the heart of what they do. I'm so very happy to have Marianne Simoneau from Nova Home Care, previously Nova Montreal, join us today. We'll talk about what Nova offers, how their nurses support both patients and families, and why asking for help at home can be one of the most powerful choices we make. Let's begin. Marianne, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you're here because, as I shared earlier, my connection to Nova is personal. My father was under palliative care at home near the end of last year. It was the first time we really turned to your services, and I can't overstate how much their support meant to us. The on-call nurses brought both practical relief and emotional comfort during really a very incredibly difficult time.
Hi, Varsha. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really moved by your story, and it's really a privilege to be able to chat with you today. And by the way, I love the name of your podcast. It's I mean, at Nova, dignity is at the heart of what we do. So aging with dignity is a wonderful name that really speaks to me. So I look forward to our talk.
Thank you for that, Marianne. I appreciate that feedback, and hopefully the words resonate with our listeners as well. Can you tell us a little bit about Nova Home Care and the kinds of services you offer, especially when it comes to nursing care at home?
So Nova, as you mentioned it, for the last 125 years, hard to believe, but we've been providing free home care to people who are ill or nearing the end of life, and also very essential respite and psychosocial support to the caregivers. And each year, we help avoid hundreds of unnecessary hospitalization. And last year, our nonprofit community organization helped over 1,300 people. So our team includes 34 people. So we have nurses, we have home health aides, also social workers and massage therapists. So we all working, everybody was working together to ensure that people can remain at home with dignity, comfort, and personalized care. So it's very unique. It's extremely unique service in Quebec, and we have two programs. So the first one is palliative and end of life. home care, and the second one is home support. And we also have one free training. So it's an accredited palliative home care that's primarily designed for nurses. And these nurses seek to expand their knowledge and expertise on home based palliative care because it's a niche and it is an expertise. So with through this training that's unique in Quebec, we're really open to just sharing your knowledge with all the healthcare professionals.
That's fantastic. And how did you get involved with the group?
Well, it's a choice of heart because my mother-in-law she battled cancer for over 13 years, and she passed away at home at a young age. And she really wanted to end her last days, her last months, even the last years. She wanted to be home. She wanted to feel comfort. She wanted to eat the food that brought her joy. I wanted to be with her family, her kids, her three kids. And she also like little details like the lighting or the music, all of that, really made an impact for her. And we were able to honor her desire to stay home until the very end. And I saw the impact it had on the family to be able to have her until those final moments. And also, we saw what the COVID pandemic did. the it's I realized how important access to home care was or would have been for a lot of the for a lot of people. Our society is aging, so home care is a solution to look into and to expand.
Marianne, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. It's never easy. Um, People say in time it makes things easy, but we always remember the loved ones. And your story is incredible because you've touched on so many points just in your brief experience with Nova as a client that mimics what we experienced as well. Dad really wanted to stay home, and he was able to do that because of the Nova nurses being there to guide us as his caregivers, but also to provide the care that was needed for him. A lot of the things that you mentioned about the music and the environment and the lighting and stuff was so important for my father as well. So I'm pleased to see that it's not a one off. Clearly, and it was certainly part of your motivation. Marianne, can you talk about what makes Nova different from your typical CLSC or private agency? What's unique about the way in which your team approaches care?
Um, well, it is a unique format in the province. Even the minister of really the minister of elders, Sonia Bélanger, agrees. How unique the Nova's care model of care is in our province. So our organization works hand in hand with the CLSCs, 18 in total within our territory. So we covered the territory of three CUSs, so that amounts more or less 18 CLSCs. And our team goes further by offering enhanced, very human centered care. So, unlike private agencies, all of our services are completely free.
Wow.
So it's again, it's shocking that we're able, and all of that is thanks to philanthropy. But I'll get to that a little bit later. But think of Nova Home Care as the whipped cream, that you add on top of what the public system can afford, basically. So we're the bonus, we're the extra, we're the dulce de leche. And what sets us apart is really the quality, the accessibility, the consistency also of our approach. So we offer in-home respite. So a lot of organizations out there, non for profits, will offer a day center. for caregivers, which is extraordinary. And I'm not questioning that option because it is essential also. But what we do differently is that we go directly at home. So our home health aides are basically, they offer respite to the caregivers. So they stay there for blocks of 3 hours at a time and they fully take everything in charge. So they provide the medical care that the patient needs and also allows, the caregiver to go and be completely, just have free of mind. They're able to take a real break and knowing for them, knowing that their loved one is in good hands is very reassuring. So we also always try to send the same, like this, the same nurse and the same home health aide to each home. So it's extremely reassuring for the families also. But we have people that we've been supporting for over 10 years, and it's the same person that goes week after week. So for someone who has Alzheimer's, for example, um, well, the the patient's behavior is going to be improved a lot more, and even the illness might degrade at a lower pace because we really assemble all the components to make sure that this person is well taken care of. So there's more to say if you let me go. I'm like going on a row here. That's my passion. But um thank you. Thanks for letting me, go in depth. That's what I love about podcasts too. But NOPA offers a holistic model. So what this means is we don't just address the medical needs. Like we go further. We address the emotional needs, social, spiritual well-being of the person. So it's a 360 care. And our turnover with our employees is incredibly low. So that's another thing too that helps us establish trust and comfort for family. And also, we don't put a band aid on an issue in our society. So we don't just fill the gaps. Nova really has sustainable, community driven solution to reduce the hospitalization and to ease the burden on our public healthcare system. So there's over 70 in the people that we maintain at home, 87% of them are seniors. And I mean, to help all these people in dignity is extraordinary. And our public-private partnerships with the CLSCs allows us to keep people at home if they wish, at a rate that's 7 times higher than the average in the province.
That's incredible, Marianne, and thank you, by the way, not thanking me. You're sharing some incredible information for our listeners, so I appreciate that. I have a question: is Nova only for palliative care, or do you also offer nursing support for other situations like post-surgery recovery or chronic illnesses? I know in the case of your mother-in-law and my father, it was palliative end of life care. I'm just curious if there's a wider spectrum of support that you offer.
There is. So thanks for asking. Nova is best known for its expertise in palliative care at home. So, with our program and with our training, also training nurses across Quebec. But our home support program in recent years has taken, more and more space. The need for our home support program, which I will describe in a second, is increasing tremendously because the population is aging. So this program, the home support, is intended for individuals with fragile health. You have people that are living with neurocognitive disorders, which is also on the rise based on statistics, and neurocognitive disorders that can include Alzheimer's, um, chronic illnesses, also loss of autonomy, I mean, in this program, we have a lot of people that are helped by a caregiver already, but there's also people who are living alone. So we're really targeting, the two, people that are helped by a caregiver and also people living at home. And for post surgery recovery that you also asked about, we're open to the idea. It's just that we prioritize the continuity of care with a longer term trajectory.
Okay.
So, in cases where we're already supporting a family with someone who has had surgery, we can offer additional hours, but it's not our primary focus for to help people with post surgery recovery.
And I remember how comforting it was to have a nurse come in from Nova. It was not just to do the medical work, but also just to be present and calm during what was such a vulnerable time. What are some of the biggest concerns families have when they first reach out to Nova, and how do you help ease that?
When families first reach out, they're overwhelmed. Definitely. I'm not part of the clinical team, but I am I talk to our nurses on a regular basis, our social workers, our home health aides. They tell me that they are overwhelmed and anxious. So they don't really know where to start. There are resources out there, but they may not know where to find these resources. Some of them are shy also to ask for help. So they don't know where to start. They're not sure who to trust. So we reassure them. We really, I mean, reassurance is key. We tell them we're here. We tell them our services are free, which really takes off a huge load because the financial burden when you are a caregiver can be substantial. So that is a big component. And we, you know, tell them that there will be someone kind, competent, and we will offer them consistent care. So really for them, it makes all the difference.
So reassuring, assuring and calming too, right? To just have somebody knowledgeable be able to respond to your questions. Do you find there are common myths or misconceptions about what in-home nursing or palliative care is that maybe your teams are having to correct families on what this means?
There are many, including for myself when I joined Nova 3 years ago, because I was coming from a different background. And I would say one of the biggest one is definitely that palliative care means end of life. Like palliative care means that the days death is coming within days. And that is not it at all. Like far from it. It can be, but it can also go on the other spectrum. So palliative care could start as far as 5 years prior, maybe more, So it's when someone's receiving a diagnosis of an incurable disease. So PAL care, as we refer it, is one of our shortcut. The PAL care, as we call it, is about improving quality of life, reducing pain, and supporting both the person who is ill and their loved ones. So it's like before you're going to bed and you're putting on these big, comfortable socks before, your let's say your feet are cold. You wanna go to bed. You wanna have a good night's sleep, sweet dreams. You're putting on these comfortable, warm sockies. That's what palliative care is. Just like very comforting, warm, pain free, allow you to just have a long night's sleep. And that long night's sleep might be 5 years. So
Got it.
it's really special. And we're hoping, that we're able to share that, palliative care, that approach is amazing. Everybody should know about it.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate you sharing that because in our case, things moved really quickly, right? From, in my dad's case, from diagnosis to needing care, it was a matter of weeks. Um, and I thought that was the only time Nova would step in until you just shared that. So, how quickly can Nova step in when a family is suddenly in need of support, like we were? You've talked a bit about how long you can be there and that you provide the same people for, as long as you can. So, what about really sudden needs? How quickly can Nova step in?
Well, that's a tough question to answer because it depends on the situation, the availability, and the diagnosis.
Okay.
But what can really help is the fact that we have a great partnerships with the CLSCs and the hospitals. So that really helps streamline the process. And I could say from speaking to our nurses on a regular basis and our amazing clinical director, things can move very quickly. So it could be within days. It can, we don't, I won't sign on it right now, but it could be within days. So it could be very quickly, especially for our palliative care program, because, eventually we will lose some dear people that we're helping. Our home support program, well, we could help people for years, for many, many years. And eventually, these people in that program will migrate to the palliative care program.
Mm.
So, this goes to show, we could really, Nova Home Care could be in the picture for many years. Like we develop very unique, special relationships with families.
It's amazing. So, thinking a little bit about the caregivers in the homes, especially for those that are trying to manage everything on their own, what kind of support does Nova provide for, whether it's directly or through a referral service? Because you seem to offer quite a spectrum of services yourself, but do you also bring in other resources to help families?
Partnerships with our community partners is essential. So, if we can't offer a service, we, in our the best of our ability, will try to partner, or will partner, I shouldn't say will try. We are partnering with many other, organizations, often nonprofit, who offer these services. So an example will be, we're partnering with an organization that offers spiritual help, if that's something that we cannot offer, or music therapy. We have a partnership with an organization called SAM, with, because we don't have it in house. And with our partnership with the CLSC, what's amazing is that they have let's say the hospital bed and just the special pillow and the special, the walker and all of that. They have that, they have the ergo therapist. We don't have that person in our team. So with these wonderful community partnerships, we're able to improve what we offer. And to answer your other question too, in terms of caregivers, they're they're often holding it. They're holding everything together. So with the home respite that we offer them, they're able to run errands. They're really also able to benefit from our psychosocial support. So it helps them cope because if the caregiver falls, there will be one more person that falls into the health system because of, psychological strain, or, their mental health will be affected. So we don't want two people in the health care system. We already have one person who's ill, so we don't want another person in the system. So our Nova services, they are easily accessible through a referral from the CLSC or our palliative care program. And for the home support program, well, people could also have a referral from the CLSC, or they could call us directly. So this this is, makes it easier for them. And just small fact too is that there's over of the caregivers that we're helping that are seniors.
Amazing.
So many people who are ill are seniors, but many caregivers are also seniors.
It's amazing the spectrum of services that you're offering. I was not aware. Like I said, our interaction with Nova was very short, very intense, very focused on the last couple of weeks of pain management for my father, really. And I have to also just share another little personal story that when I was in a bit of a panic mode with my mom in her hospital bed at home on Christmas Day, and the bed froze, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. 2:30 in the afternoon, and in a panic mode, I called Nova and said, I know you don't have my mom on your list, but can you help me? And the nurses recognized my name, remembered that my father had just, a few weeks or 1 month earlier had been on the program, and they were so again that calm voice and being able to guide me through next steps, and they were wonderful. So, um, it's a heartfelt thank you to Nova, as I said at the start, with what your teams were able to provide for us. I'd like to know if you could share with our listeners the cost for these services. I mean, how does all this work that you do work within the public healthcare system?
Well, um, as I mentioned before, our services are free. So first and foremost is a huge shout out, huge thank you to our donors. Many of them being large family foundations, corporations, also individuals that are giving through a legacy. So after their passing, it's called the bequest. But also some of them, they're still alive and they want to see the impact from, they want to be there and see the impact for themselves. So we have gifts of securities, which are like in stocks, and we have monthly donations also. So all of that really allows us to give free services. And 2 years ago, because of our executive director, Anne Sophie, her amazing, extraordinary determination and perseverance, she was able to obtain an historic grant, the first in 125 years of existence, the first government grant. So last year. And this covered more or less 50% of our operational budget.
Wow.
So this year, she was able to get the grant again because remember, all those 34 people that two were only two in our admin team, and there's 32 people in our clinical team. All of those people, compassionate individuals, they are all on the payroll. So sustainable funding for our organization is key. And up until now, it was exclusively covered by philanthropy. So this year, we got the government grant again. Our operational budget is $3 million. So the government grant covers roughly 50%. So we are able to offer more services. Government is mainly focused on the person who's healed, though. Nova has the 360-degree approach, also including the caregivers. So, with the government's help, we are able to help more, but also continue offering that whipped cream that I mentioned before. So, right now, we're actively exploring options with Santé Quebec. There's a new entity in our health system and other allies, you know, within the government to really ensure sustainable funding for the years to come. So that's our main goal. And thanks to our incredible executive director, um, this file is advancing, but it takes time and patience and a lot of a lot of juice to get it to make it happen.
Absolutely. We really are fortunate here, to have such a breadth of service spectrum available. And I know we all like to complain, right, that we don't get this, we don't get that. But learning through what you're sharing here, that there are services that we need when we need it, right? That's really
Yes.
key.
And that's because of philanthropy, really. I mean, philanthropy is a huge part. I mean, for the first 123 years of existence, it was private donations that was keeping this nonprofit organization well and alive.
And it still is a significant part, right?
It
So it's
still is a significant component. So the families are amazed, by the quality of care that we provide. And they are shocked that it's free. They are. And I tell them, this is thanks to our donors. There are so many people out there that want to give and that are financially able to give. Um, they want to make a difference. And giving to Nova, they see the impact. I mean, their money arrives and then it goes straight to services. There aren't many intermediaries. We're only two in our admin team. We might grow it soon. We have, very valuable external resources that are helping us too, but so far it's still quite small. So we're we're gonna grow soon, but still, I mean, they're shocked. They're shocked to see the really amazing impact that organization has on families.
I think you can count me and our family as one of those that were amazed and shocked. Amazed by the breadth, yeah, the depth of services that we got, and shocked that it was at no charge.
Our clinical care is amazing. I mean, they have a true passion. Like it really, you could see it in their eyes. We hire based on their compassion. I mean, we want people who have just a backpack filled with compassion. That will hire them before someone who has all the technical skills and all that. No, we look at, is this person going to be human centered and compassionate? And then after that, we look at what they've done in their experience and all that.
Yeah, because you can teach the technical skills, you can't teach
Exactly.
compassion.
Exactly. Exactly.
So talking about compassion, so your teams, you touch families at their really at their most vulnerable point in their lives. Is there a story that you can share that maybe sticks out for you, one that really captures the impact of the nursing care on a family?
There are a few, but it's not mine. I'm going to be stealing a wonderful story from one of our nurses, Paula, who's been with us for many, many years. And Paula told me, and I have this on page, I actually saw pictures of that, but I wasn't there specifically. But when she told me, I felt like I was there. So there was a mother who was unable for all the reasons you can imagine. And she was in childcare, unable to attend her son's graduation ceremony. So we reenacted that. So the Nova's team really, just orchestrated a ceremony in the patient's home, in the mother's room. So they decorated the room filled with balloons. The son had his cap, his gown, it was like joyful ambiance, music, was touching, completely unforgettable. And Paula's, I mean, she still has tears in her eyes that she's talking about that story. So I'd say this is a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really funny when I asked you that question, I was expecting it to be something about the care, about the attention that was given during those final moments. But you brought a story that's uplifting, right? And that's such a big part of life, right? We might be at the end of our life, but that doesn't mean we don't enjoy our life.
That's it. That's it. Think of the comfortable socks. And my wonderful executive director, I can't say it enough. We have such a great complicity and can I say that in English? I'm French. So complicity, is that a word?
Is it? Yep. Yep.
Okay, good. Well, we developed, such a wonderful relationship and friendship also in the past 3 years. And she says that she calls like the landing with with us. It's like kind of a very soft landing, what we offer at Nova for someone towards the end of their life. So I find it such a beautiful image, when you're just landing, it's just very smooth. You're arriving in a destination. You are going on a voyage. You are, at the end of that chapter. And yeah, it's just a great image.
Yeah, the journey is continuing. We just don't know what it looks like up ahead.
Exactly. And whatever your beliefs might be, it might be a different journey for everybody, but it's just for us, at least for that chapter, that life chapter, we are just providing a very soft, easy, comforting landing.
Creating a really nice image. So, Marianne, for someone who's listening who might be kind of on the fence about asking for help, what would you say to encourage them to reach out to Nova, and how would they go about that?
Oh my gosh. Ask. Ask. Please don't be shy. Don't do this alone. You don't have to be alone. It's, I mean, even just having a conversation could really help you feel like you are, taken care of and more in control. And speak to your local CLSC. Really. And if you fall because there is a turnover with some people working at the CLSC, you might land on somebody that doesn't know Nova. But if they don't know, you let them know Nova exists, and they will talk to their colleague, and they will be able to assist you. I mean, we don't. In an ideal world, if the funding was unlimited, give me a magic stick, and I would say we'd love to have Nova available across the province, but it's not the case right now. We have a determined territory across Montreal, but for those CLSCs that we work with, ask them, ask questions, visit our website, call us directly. There'll be some links available to you at the end of our podcast. So just check it out. Don't stay by yourself.
Yeah, that's really interesting because we were introduced to Nova through the CLSC palliative nurse at the time that we needed the support for sort of the last phases for dad. So it's encouraging to know, and we'll share in our podcast notes in the care toolkit that will provide a lot of the links that you've mentioned as well. Marianne, you know, thank you for talking with me today. You've brought back a lot of those, I guess, little memories and points from the final weeks with my dad. When we first heard from Nova, West Island was our group. We really didn't know what to expect. We just knew that they were offering support and help, but I had no idea how much of a support they would turn out to be. They were an anchor to me during very confusing times. Had never been through this before, never really knew what to expect, where to turn. And they were professional. They were really there to provide empathy as they came into our home. I didn't feel that they were invasive. They were calm when we were overwhelmed, and they just made me feel a little less alone in a really difficult time. So I think conversations like this remind us that aging and end of life care, it's not just about the symptoms or the systems and services. It's about the people, right? The presence of a skilled, compassionate nurse in our home can ease the pain. It lightened the emotional load. It helped bring peace to an incredibly difficult moment for the family. So we're very grateful to Marianne and the team at Nova for the care that they offer, for the humanity they bring into every home that they visit. Marianne, your insights today really brought home something I think many of us forget, that care at the end of life isn't just medical, it's deeply human. Yes, it's about managing the symptoms and coordinating services, not to discount that, but it's also about presence, kindness, and showing up for families when They're stretched so thin and they're so emotionally raw. We also touched on something I think many families struggle with, and that's the sense of guilt or hesitation about bringing in outside care. I hope listeners are realizing how important it is to really normalize asking for help. You hinted at this, Marianne. There's no prize for doing it all alone. I've learned that asking for help doesn't mean you're stepping back. It means you're creating space to be more present with the people you love, especially when time is short.
If I can interrupt, on a plane, they always tell you put your mask first. That's exactly what you said. The caregivers need to
Absolutely.
also, be able to, sustain the situation, be able to navigate the situation with their mask on first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So really, to any of our listeners, if you're navigating a similar situation, or if you're even just starting to ask questions about what's possible at home, I hope this episode gave you some clarity and maybe even a bit of comfort. If you or someone you love might benefit from support like this, I really suggest you visit the Aging with Dignity Care Toolkit. It's a free resource. It captures the key points from today's episodes. It will include links to shared resources that Marianne has mentioned. And of course, as always, there's a suggested action items list to get you started. Marianne, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Varsha. It was really amazing to speak to you today.
Everything you've heard today, just real talk. It's just our personal stories, experiences, and honest opinions. This podcast isn't providing legal, medical, financial, or therapeutic advice. And no, listening doesn't make me or my guests your lawyer, doctor, financial advisor, or therapist. The guests and I are here to share stories, spark ideas, and hopefully give you something to think about. When it comes to the big decisions, make sure you do your homework or check in with the experts who know your situation best. We're here to keep the conversation going. You're the one in the driver's seat. In the next episode, we'll tackle one of the toughest caregiving crossroads. We've all heard it. We don't put our elders in homes. But what happens when caregiving at home isn't enough and finances are strained? We'll take an honest look at CHSLDs and long-term care in Quebec. If you found today's chat insightful, I invite you to stay connected and share this episode with your loved ones. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to this podcast if you're enjoying what you hear. Thank you for listening in and sharing your time with me. Please join me each week for new insights into aging with dignity. Until next time, reminding us all to age gracefully and live vibrantly.